Okay, it's time for my third Q&A video now. Let's get straight into it. The first question is from Wherever They May Roam Zero, and the question is, thoughts on Triple H and For the Hell of It Stephanie? Well, Triple H is a great worker. I'd rate him amongst the top 10 heavyweights in the world at the moment. Well, that's if he was working full time. At the moment he's not working full time. He's worked about one match in the last year, so you can't really rank him based on that. But if he was working full time, I'd put him amongst the top 10 heavyweights in the world easily. I think he's a fantastic worker. The match he had with Undertaker at WrestleMania this year was, it was great, wasn't it? As a backstage politician, he seemed, well, he got a rep for so-called burying people, always building up stars and then like going over them. But that was probably the whole point of building those people up in the first place, was that so they'd be fed to the monster heel of Raw at the time, which was Triple H, and like people like Booker T, Scott Steiner, RVD, Goldberg were all built up to put over Triple H. Obviously, those guys like Booker T should have ended up going over Triple H, and only I think Batista actually got to go over him cleanly, and then not get any comeuppance from that, and obviously Undertaker more recently. But as a backstage worker, apparently he's really good. He really helps guys out. He gives them good ideas. He helps them out with their gimmicks and stuff. So yeah, I think he's really good for the company, especially because it's rumoured that he was the guy behind the hirings of Karma and Mystico. I wanted both of those in WWE, and when they both signed, I was over the moon. I was really ecstatic, and to the point where I did preview hype videos for them on this channel, where I've not done that for any other upcoming wrestler, I don't think. So yeah, I really appreciate that he brought those two workers to the company. Next we got For the Hell of It Stephanie. My thoughts on Stephanie. Let's think. I thought she was an okay on-screen persona back when, around the 2000 era, especially in the Invasion era, because she'd be a good foil for guys like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho could just rip into it. You got to remember, this girl is like a millionaire, and she's letting someone who works for her call her a slut on national television. She seems like really good for business in that sense. Whether she's any good behind the scenes, I have no idea. I've heard rumblings that she isn't too great, but then again, on the I Want Wrestling podcast, they always put David Garner always puts her over, saying she was really nice. So I can't really say too much more about her, to be honest. Obviously we don't know that much. Next is from Barbarian95 Man, and it is, what is your favourite cruiserweight feud in WCW? Well, I've got to admit, I can't really remember any specific feuds from the cruiserweight division in WCW. It's mostly just random matches thrown in there. There wasn't really many feuds. One that does stand out in my mind though is, even though these aren't your traditional cruiserweights in your mind, is Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho. They had a great feud where I think Malenko had taken the title from Jericho, or vice versa. I think he had, yeah, and then Jericho came out because Malenko was the man of 1,000 holds, so then Jericho said he was the man of 1,004 holds, and he came out with a massive list and was like, hold 1, armbar, hold 2, leg drop, hold 3, blah blah blah, and he just kept on going back to the armbar stuff. It was funny stuff, and yeah, it was a great little feud. This one that I remember, and one that I actually got emotionally invested into at the time, thinking, oh come on Malenko, I'll get this, come on, beat this guy. This is when I was obviously more of a mark than I am now. Obviously I still care now, so I'm still a mark. Yeah, next we've got Ken the Gamer. Who killed WCW? I'm not gonna lie, I think Eric Bischoff killed WCW. Although he did make WCW into the mega thing that it did become, he also killed it by just doing stupid contracts, and he basically, the structure that he put into place made sure that they could take over WWE, but then cause its very own downfall at the exact same time, by giving Kevin Nash and Scott Hall contracts where whoever came in, or maybe it was just Kevin, no, yeah, they both had the contract where it was basically match the highest earner. Well, that's what it is on Football Manager, where whoever's earning the most money in the company, they have to make that much money. Their contract gets up to that. So basically, when Bret Hart came in, Sting was making the most money at the time in WCW, and then both Kevin Nash and Scott Hall came in, and then was offered more money than that, and he was offered the match the highest earner clause. And then Kevin Nash came in and got a bit more money than that, and because Scott Hall had that clause in his contract, his money was boosted up to that level as well. Let's say it was $1 million a year. And then Bret Hart came in, say he was earning $2 million a year. Because they had those clauses, they started earning $2 million a year as well. So they went from, Scott Hall for example went from earning say $750 to $2 million just because of that contract. Well, I don't know if he in the end kept hold of that contract because they might have fired him. I can't remember what specifically was going down with him because he was drunk and had his personal demons. But yeah, Bischoff killed WCW by doing those stupid contracts and just, you know, running them out of business. Next is from SNI. Who do you think will eventually become the bigger star, Miz or Alex Riley? I personally don't see a lot in Alex Riley. A lot of people hype him up, but I don't see a lot in him. His stuff sounds cheesy. Like on Raw this past week, he insulted Vicky Guerrero by saying that her breath smelled like death had taken a shit in her mouth, and it's just like, really? Is that all you got? Like, come on, you can come up with better stuff than that with between you and the writers backstage. Don't give me that stuff. That was rubbish. So I reckon Miz will become better. Will be seen as the bigger star once everything's said and done. Though you never know, Riley could get a meteoric rise like John Cena. You never know. Next from Cactus Clothesline. What do you think are the chances of WWE holding a legit pay-per-view? And in brackets he says none of that insurrection or rebellion rubbish over in Europe. I don't think there's much chance. I think they don't. My biggest criticism nowadays of the WWE is that they don't care about you international audiences. They don't give a shit about us basically. As long as they're making money over here, they're happy. They don't need to bring in their eyes. They don't need to bring a pay-per-view over here because this is not beneficial to them. They think that they should just keep running them in America. They did it once with SummerSlam 1992, and it was filmed the day before apparently. So like it was aired on tape delay. And you don't want to air a pay-per-view on tape delay. That's not good for business because the spoilers get out and people start to know what happens. Then, you know, buy rates go down and stuff. But I'd like to see them do it again. Even if people in America don't buy, the pay-per-view, do it live. Let people in England buy it live at a reasonable hour. People will watch it. I firmly believe people will watch it. It might not break massive records in the UK, but people will watch it. People will watch it all around Europe, especially if it's at a reasonable hour. Like when I was a kid, I used to never be able to watch pay-per-views. It used to be free on Sky Sports, but Sky Sports is a subscription channel which I had when I was a kid. And my mum would tape it. She'd stay up and she'd tape the pay-per-views for me while I was in bed because it was a Sunday night. They start at 1 AM. And I'd be in school the next day, so I could never watch them. But imagine nowadays, in this more PG-friendly era, if they did a pay-per-view at like 7 o'clock, all the European kids would be able to watch it. It might make especially now it's on pay-per-view all over Europe now, and not on the subscription channels like it was before. It might make the parents go, do you know what? I'll treat the kids to this. I'll pay the 15 quid, the 15 euros, whatever much it costs, and I'll buy them the pay-per-view. I think that will happen, and it will help to boost the business in the short term for that one pay-per-view around Europe. It might take a downturn in America, but it'll help it in Europe. Next from WWE TNA Uploader 74210 from Bradford, England, and it says, who should get released and who should get hired by either TNA or WWE? Well, WWE, first of all, they should hire the Kings of Wrestling. There's been rumours that the Kings of Wrestling are on the way to WWE. I firmly believe they should be there. If not both of them, at least Chris Hero. Chris Hero's a great worker. He could fit in the main event scene. I firmly believe that. The Briscoe brothers would fit in WWE. If they made a tag team division, the Briscoe brothers would get in there. Chris Hero though could get in there as a singles worker and be great. Colt Cabana, you know, I've said about him before. I'm a massive fan of Colt Cabana. More a fan of the person Colt Cabana than the actual wrestler, in all honesty, but he's a great character to watch, and on WWE TV they could book him in such a way that more people would really care about him, and I'd become even more of a fan of the wrestler himself. Who should be fired? Well, WWE have just released about 5 guys. Khali should be gone, in all honesty. I know he does fit the Indian demographic, but now they've got Jinder Mahal in there. Once they've built him up a little bit more, they can release Khali. I won't really go into much detail about more people who should be losing their jobs because that's not my place. Who should be hired by TNA? Ooh, right, Briscoe Brothers. They should hire the Briscoe Brothers. TNA have got a good tag team division. Put them in there. That make for great matches. They could work against the Machine Guns. Well, Young Bucks have obviously just gone, but Boy Money, British Invasion, the American Mexicans, whatever they're called. What are they called? Mexican Americans. That's the one, not American Mexicans. The Mexican Americans. Yeah, they'd be great in there. Who should be released from TNA? All the old people. I'd like to say get rid of Sting and Kurt Angle because they played out. They've not got much more to give for TNA. Send Sting to WWE. He'd be amazing in WWE. I've been really impressed with Sting over the last few weeks. I know people have been like, "Oh, the Joker gimmick. Oh, he's just copying Heath Ledger." Blah 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 blah. I like it. I'm not a big fan of Batman, but I really like this gimmick through Sting. It's a good wrestling gimmick. It's not been done before within the wrestling world, so I'm perfectly behind it because he's doing it really well. At first, I was a bit iffy, but yeah, now I've seen it and I've seen like the bulk of it, apart from the last pay-per-view. Yeah, really behind it. From the PLD TV, what's your opinion on Zack Ryder? Do you think he deserves a push / some airtime on Raw? I think Zack Ryder is a good character. I do not think he's a good wrestler. Obviously, who am I to say anything, because he's obviously a better wrestler than I am, because I've never wrestled a day in my life apart from little stuff as a child in backyards and stuff. But yeah, I personally don't think he's a good wrestler. He's a good like William Regal kind of guy where he can do like the commissioner sort of role, but William Regal's a great in-ring wrestler as well, whereas Zack Ryder he's a bit more green, and I'd keep him in the position they've got him now on SmackDown, where he's the helper of Teddy Long or whatever he is, the assistant. Is that still going? I know it happened 2 weeks ago, and then he got pedigreed last week apparently or something. But yeah, I'd keep him in that role, on-screen character but not wrestling. Then from the IC Tower 1, what do you think of Zack Ryder and his YouTube show? Well, I've just said about that, but his YouTube show, I really like it. I watch every episode. I think I missed 1 or 2. But yeah, I'm a really big fan. They do make me laugh, and like I said, he's a good character. It's just as a wrestler, he's not that great, but he's a good character. He deserves a job within the WWE, especially because they're an entertainment company. He is entertaining, and he can work the backstage stuff very well. From Kiwi Rockstar 1, what's the most badass thing you have ever done? Oof. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. I once kicked someone in the face and broke the jaw, but it's not one of my most proudest moments. But is that badass? I don't know what is badass. I don't really think badass is something you want to be when you're 15 years old and not when you're 23, to be honest. I've not really got much more to say about that. Robbie Powell 646. Who are your favourite tag team of all time, and which is your favourite tag team match? The Hart Foundation are my most favourite tag team of all time. In fact, no. Oh, this is a tough one actually. Now, I really like the Hart Foundation, but Jim Neidhart was just a passenger. I really like Demolition, but they both weren't the best in the ring, but as a pair they were fantastic. But I'd have to say the New Age Outlaws are my favourite tag team of all time. Favourite tag team match? I'd have to say one of the TLC ones. Or if we're going just standard 2-on-2, you know, there's a really good one on Raw a few weeks ago where it was, I think it was Riley and Mysterio against Miz and Swagger, and that was a tornado tag, and that was awesome. Also, the tag team tables match from Royal Rumble 2000 between the Hardys and the Dudleys, that was brilliant as well. So yeah, any of them basically. I can't really think of any standard 2-on-2 matches apart from Hart Foundation versus Demolition, where Crush was hid under the ring, or maybe it was Axe hid under the ring or Smash hid under the ring, and they did a bit of a switcheroo, and things like SummerSlam 91. That was a good tag team match. Next from G Dancy 1. Now that CM Punk is officially WWE champ, officially champ and officially no longer in the WWE, if and how will Vince get the title back? Well, I'm answering this way late, obviously, this has all gone down already, but I was never one of these who thought that CM Punk was leaving the WWE. That was never something that I thought would happen. As you can see, watch my preview for Money in the Bank. I said that he wasn't going to lead the company. I highly doubted it. I didn't know what they'd do, but yeah, what I would have done is I would have held a tournament or something like that and had CM Punk come back in and claim a place in the tournament, or beat the tournament winner or something like that. I don't know, I would have let him do something. And they did a tournament. And that's exactly what they did, actually, now I think about it. Yeah, I don't know what I would have said for them to do, but yeah. Next from Mr. 908 Steven, do you think that CM Punk and Cena feud will get as old as Orton and Christian? No, I do not, because first of all it's on Raw, second of all they put in a lot behind it, like throwing Triple H in there, special guest referee and whatnot, so yeah, I don't think it would get boring whatsoever. Well, it might do to some people, because some people can't be pleased, but yeah, I think they're going to throw more exciting things and more exciting gimmicky things within this to make it keep on building and be excellent. Next from My Mr. Wrestling, do you rate Randy Orton in the ring and in his private life? And then in brackets he's put the interview he done ripping Kelly Kelly, etc. Well, I listened to that interview and I actually have respect for him to say some stuff like that about Kelly Kelly. He's being honest and he's ripping into someone who, if she is a bit like loose, then obviously he shouldn't really be broadcasting it, but it's not like it's on international television, it's on the internet, and the internet's there for people who want to find out these juicy little bits of gossip. So if people want to know these bits of gossip, then fair enough, put it out there, but don't put it on mainstream TV where for the people who just don't want to know that stuff. If people who want to find out, they'll find out like they have done. I don't really rate him in the ring, although this series with Christian's really made me appreciate him as an in-ring performer, but I don't really rate him that much. He deserves to be in the main event scene, he's been booked really well, but in the all-time scale of professional wrestling, I'd rate him as a mid-carder, upper mid-carder, not a main event kind of guy. Next from Barbarian 95 man, I think this is his second one. What Stone Cold match do you like in 1998? Shawn Michaels in WrestleMania or Undertaker in SummerSlam? I can't really remember the Undertaker SummerSlam one, so I'd have to go with the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania one. That was great, where Tyson ended up knocking Michaels out at the end of the match. That was a really good match, and yeah, that's the end of my Q&A. I've probably gone on for about 20 minutes here, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's got a bit dark as well since I started, but yeah, my next Q&A video is going to be a bit different, because it's not going to be me answering the questions, it's going to be me asking the questions, and it's just going to be me asking your questions, but who's going to be answering them? Well, that's the surprise. Look out for that. That'll be Q&A 4, but yeah, this is Q&A 3, and with that I'm out. Thank you for watching. Feel free to put up questions on my channel. I'm a moderator, and I'll get them answered in my next one. That'll be my next one, which will be Q&A 5. So Q&A 4 will not be me answering the questions, I don't think. I'm planning on doing something different for that. Also, I'm on about 550 subscribers. Someone messaged me saying, "Oh, you should do a subscriber video." I don't really like to do subscriber videos because it's a bit like attention seeking, but I thought I'd just throw it on to the end of it so they can see that I'm actually taking their recommendation into consideration. So yeah, I'm on 554, I think it is now. So yeah, please keep recommending my channel to people who would be interested in it. I don't want people like subscribing if they're not going to watch my videos, or if they're not interested, then you don't have to subscribe. But if you do like my videos and if you do like watching them, please subscribe, because I do appreciate the more subscribers that I do get, and it's always nice to see that number go up. So yeah, with that I'm out. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, drop in more questions onto my moderator on my channel so that I can have some to answer on Q&A 5. With that I'm out. Thank you very much for watching.